The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of A Decade in Review.
Number 3.
One right after the other.
One right after the other, and then we'll not have another one for like a year.
10 years.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit before we actually get to the next one. But this time we're talking... I know that was very guttural.
Today we're talking about the last 10 years of Sentai. So
yes.
Time Ranger through Shinkenger.
All that being said, this was a darn good decade for it.
Yes, it was.
It was.
It was an amazing. Like the 2000s, like the 90s, yeah. But the 2000s, though.
Yeah, there was not really a bad, like a holy shit bad Sentai in the 2000s.
I feel like it really...
There was one.
Oh, yeah.
But even you guys were like, it's not as bad as you remember.
True.
So,
but yeah, let's go ahead.
It certainly isn't the worst thing we've had to watch for this channel.
it's really.
We watched Windspector.
Yeah, that was worse. Windspector was worse.
We really need to watch more Metal Heroes.
Amazon's was worse.
It actually is on
Amazon's was worse.
It'll happen.
Amazon was worse.
Well, that had the excuse of its time period, I guess.
No, it was just a bad show.
Yeah. At least it's not the Amazon decade. Amazon.
We will have actually more Metal Hero coming up soon because Ultraman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Although we do still have some shows to watch for it.
We got that. We've got Ryu Kendo coming up.
I forgot what they're actually called, but I'm just going to say we have the Beetleborgs. I'm just going to call them that. Sorry.
I don't think it's fully subbed.
Yeah, that's not subbed yet.
Damn it!
Right? But
we did watch the first episode, though.
Decade of Review.
Can we just review Beetleborgs then?
No.
I
refuse. Mirai Sentai Time Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
This was really like the last super dark one that we got. As dark as Sentai will get. And, you know, the 2000s were a very, very transformative time for Sentai. This is the last one where they really used the, like, actual models for things, especially during the combination sequences.
Yep.
But Time Ranger was just very dark. The story was pretty damn just bleak half of the time. Dealing with...
It has a really good cast.
Yeah.
It's a really good cast. We're also getting into this transition era of technology where a lot more things are CG these days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So...
That's really going to come in on the next season.
Yeah.
This is
also one of the best adaptations, one of the best Power Rangers.
True.
Time Force is one of the best.
And this was also the same year that Kuga came.
That's right.
So, started the Heisei for Kamen Rider.
Started the Heisei.
So, Toei's got a lot on their plate in this decade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, they went... This is actually really funny to say. They went super dark for this year.
Yeah.
They did, because Kuga,
Now,
Kuga's very different from other
Superhero Dark Time.
Yeah.
Dark.
Actually, that hadn't started yet. But this is also the one where some things really started to change. Time Ranger did not sell well. Mm-hmm. Didn't have a lot of toys to begin with, either.
Yeah.
So they went...
It shows when you watch the show.
Yeah. And they went for the next one, for Gal Ranger.
Yeah.
It was time for toys. Toy time.
Oh,
and
yes.
CG time.
CG.
This is the first time we had CG Zords.
Yes.
CG Mechs.
And this is also the first one, at least not really counting the one in Time Ranger, where they had multiple armaments for that. This show became really toyetic. And unfortunately, the story took a back burner.
Yeah, Gal Ranger is not a good show.
If the decade of Kamen Rider that we talked about previously was the decade of experimentation, I feel like this also applies to Sentai as well. Because they're more experimenting with new technology, CG, toy lines, and all of this. So it's no longer the show that kids watch every Sunday morning. It's the show that the kids watch every Sunday morning and then go to the store and buy it. So they can also be the hero that they watch on TV. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was this real transition period.
Yep.
Yeah, an extreme one. Especially for Sentai. Going from Time Ranger to Gal Ranger, we saw the multiple armaments, the multiple beasts, like the weapons started having multiple...
There's so many mechs in Gal Ranger. Yeah. There's so many.
So many.
Some of them look great.
Enough to make more mechs.
But yeah, so many. Like, this is one of the first times where we had so many mechs that they were able to combine into their own mech. And then that mech was able to combine with the original mech.
And then there was a god mech that we don't talk about.
Oh, yeah, that one.
It was also the Phoenix one, which is one of the better ones.
Yeah, Power Ranger.
Where they kill half the team in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was
Only
that
problem,
was
especially during this time, you see it happening a lot more now. I'm so afraid of what, technically, actually, the 44 Super Sentai is going to be because Lupin did not sell well first quarter. But then again, it did not have a lot of toys. So
you think with all those Rangers and whatnot, you'd think they would, but
no, they decided to actually work on the story, and that is actually
what a refreshing surprise.
Or rather, the characters and how they relate to each other. But that is the thing. It seems like, especially, you can see the pattern start here when the toys, where they really focus on toys, they take away from story,
or vice versa.
Yeah,
that is a hard thing to balance.
With Hurricaneger, it was having a main team of 3, then introducing more.
Introducing them 2 and then the additional one.
Yeah. It was
and one of the things I love about the Shurikenger is the way they were able to bring so many guest characters in, so many actors from previous shows.
Like Daigo.
And Kenji Oba.
And Blue Racer.
Blue Racer was able to come
and
back.
And O-Red.
But,
for some reason.
Yeah.
And Mega Blue.
But once again, let's try not to make this just short snippet reviews of each Sentai. Let's try to focus on the decade as a whole.
Was not really so much like the armaments that they did.
This is the first time we've revisited a theme like this, I think. Is it?
I mean, Animals was revisited.
Bro, first time we revisited ninjas, I should say.
Yeah, it's the first time we revisited ninjas.
And it feels very different from the last one.
Yeah. Kaku Ranger, as much as we have our mixed feelings, especially about it now, it really started to get that story focus at the end. With Tsuruhime and everything she had to deal with her dad.
Yeah.
And all of that.
But
this one didn't really do that. It had a problem with its story, but its characters were really good, but it had a problem with its story really falling to the wayside. And that it didn't really have one. It seemed like the villains were also just really there.
There are more of these types of seasons than there are the ones that focus on story and characters, because I get it. Toy sales is like their number one thing to help keep funding the show. And there is a very ratings not so much.
There's a very explicit difference here between making the characters your story and their story like what you're supposed to focus on, and trying to have a separate story. Just the characters are supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And they actually really did this well in Abba Ranger. Abba Ranger did this extremely well with his characters being the story.
Yep.
But still having lots of armaments for toys.
Yeah. And it worked.
But they worked him into the story in, a way that worked.
Yeah. And it's just like,
And I think it helps that they didn't have a 6th Ranger to worry about. They only had 5 characters. You know what I mean? They only had 5 Rangers to write story for.
Yeah.
And one of them, they kind of made him one-dimensional. I am a badass. What else? I'm a badass.
No, he had a point. He was there.
He did have a point.
I didn't say he didn't have a point. I just said he didn't have much of a character besides
he was
that.
There mostly just to, be an antagonist, to try to be as strong as he can be.
No, yeah, like I said.
But then he ends up getting taken over later on. He ends up getting used by the enemy and the people that he was fighting against. Abba Ranger does a very good job of, one, giving us an evil ranger that basically just stays there. This is also the second time that we get a dinosaur-focused season.
True. But, once again, we're still kind of just talking about each show individually. We need to talk about the decade as a whole. So,
Abba Ranger was just, hey, how can we get all of this into one place as good as possible?
Mm-hmm.
I see your face. I don't care. Abba Ranger was just, how can we move forward from Hurricaneger and making sure that the story really was these characters, unlike what we did in Hurricaneger. And I feel like they did that well. Deca Ranger, very different story. Mm-hmm. Also, our first police.
First cops.
We've had military.
Yeah, but never police.
Yeah. And, they changed the formula
police
up again, where it was very episodic, but they focused on the characters. The characters weren't the story, but it worked in this case. And it just made it a much different show. And Deca Ranger is still extremely popular. Also, congratulations to Deca Pink and Deca Break. They just got married.
Huh.
Yeah. It's weird because she was with Deca Green in the show, and she was married to Red Racer. And they got a divorce.
Oh.
But yeah, Deca Ranger was just...
There's someone this one, right?
It was the transformation time. It felt like they took more from Deca Ranger going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Magic Ranger is our second film.
Deca Ranger, if I can mention, it started the tradition of the passing of the torch segment.
Yes, it did!
At the end of the show.
That's actually a really big one. Magic Ranger was focused on family and magic as an actual power source.
Yes.
Which they haven't done again yet.
No, they haven't.
And I'm a little sad about that.
You think this series would be ripe for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Magic Ranger was, as we said in our review, it's a good season. There were some things that they brought back. They brought back individual mechs again, which they hadn't done since. I mean, like individual mecha that can fight by themselves.
Yes.
Not
that
so
are
much
humanoid.
That are humanoid, like Car Ranger, Kaga Ranger, O-Ranger, which they hadn't had since then. I really want them to bring it back soon. That'll be great for the next season. And then we get. This one was much more of an anniversary season. Guy Ranger was the 25th anniversary. Go-onger was the 30th anniversary. And they brought a lot more things. I feel like the anniversary season have their own little split on that one. Because Garo, Turbo, Boken, and Gokai all built on top of each other. Like Turbo Ranger had that thing at the very beginning.
And then Zoo immediately broke it down.
Yeah. But Bokenger just like, we're just going to go ahead and take everything that we have beforehand and try to build on top of that. See exactly how we can incorporate previous seasons into this one. That was the point of this anniversary season. It's a good one. We've said this multiple times before. And we also got a very serious Red again after the past couple of years. And they sort of go back and forth on this for the next couple of seasons. Geki Ranger, haven't gotten another martial arts themed Sentai since Die Ranger. This is the third one that they've done that with since Master Ranger came before that. But this is the first one that they were just like, hey, let's give the villains their time. They're going to take back their time. And they did. A lot of this is the first one, I think really like the last one, where the villains drove the story. They were the ones who you were really supposed to focus on. It didn't have good sales, though. And as you can see, this show didn't have a lot of toys. So, but it had pretty average ratings. Not going to say it's the worst anymore.
First new colored hero in 10 years.
Yes, we got a purple one. 10 years. Who's the one before that?
10 years prior, that would have been 1997. So that would have been
Mega Ranger
Silver.
Yeah. But that's actually a good one. This is the first ever Purple Violet, however we're going to end up saying it, Ranger that we ever got. And we've gotten 2 more since then. Hey. But yeah, Geki Ranger was just, hey, let's focus on these villains for this one. And then they brought it back with comedy.
Go-onger.
This is the one where we were talking, this is much more of our opinion thing here. But this is the one we were talking about where we were just like, hey, look, there's a misstep. They tried to bring in things from Abba Ranger into this show, where they gave the engines their own personality.
The engines have personalities. Some notable first time we have an additional female hero.
Yes,
never had that before. So that's a first. First time we've had a 12-piece combining robot.
Didn't want it, but we got it.
There's a lot of mechs in this show.
Yeah. Go-onger is just like, hey, let's go back and make a lot of toys for the show. Sold very well.
Yeah. This show really feels like it was aimed at younger children.
Yeah, it definitely was. After coming off of Geki Ranger, it's just like, hey, death. So, and then we end up getting to Shinkenger, where it was just like, hey, Power Rangers is over right now. Let's go ahead and make this extremely Japanese and hope they don't adapt it. Oh, damn. But Shinkenger, okay.
Because Power Rangers RPM, that was the last one produced by Disney, 2009. But
yeah, Power Rangers, Samurai Sentai Shinkenger.
Samurai Sentai Power Ranger.
I'm looking at the thing here, so I'm getting confused.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, Shinkenger, how many first?
Getting gear.
We got a lot of, once again, another 12 mech combination.
Yep. In the
Shinkenger Go-onger movie, we got a 23 mech combination.
Yeah.
God damn. This is the first time that we got a female Red in Sentai. They did do it in Power Rangers with Charlie back in SPE.
Right.
But this is the first time that we got one. She actually took over the team.
First time we've ever had a crossover with with Kamen Rider.
Yes, first time that we had a crossover with Kamen Rider. First time in their team up where we get a preview of the next season, which is something that will become pretty damn standard up until technically go-onger. Yeah, this is the one where it's just like, hey, we're going to end up really focusing on Japanese culture. This isn't the first time they've done that. Technically, well, actually, really, Kaku Ranger.
I was about to say Kaku Ranger.
Yeah, that was Japanese mythology. This one was just like the actual culture itself.
The actual things that existed.
And once again,
as far as we know.
And they could have had giant origami dragons. Who knows? I wasn't there.
I was talking about the mythology from Kaku Ranger.
But yeah, this one was just like, we're going to be as Japanese as possible, and we're going to do it well. And it benefited from that. It sold very well, and the ratings were good.
Mm-hmm. They thought it was too Japanese for Power Rangers to adapt, and then they decided, you know what?
Let's just proven right.
Let's just run it through Google Translate.
But then they went, you know what they decided? Fine. Translate giant train deck. Oh, you're not gonna do that one? Okay, I think we found our stick.
That happened later. But yeah, this decade
all it took was a dick.
All it took was dick.
A transformative time, and it ends up setting up how we're going to.
There's a lot of firsts in this decade.
Yeah, a lot of firsts. First CGI mechs.
First females, first new colors, first armaments. There's a lot of firsts in this that don't necessarily become traditional, but there are some things that people were like, "Oh, I like that. Let's do it again."
Yeah, this is legitimately my favorite decade of Sentai.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's just like I have
I can definitely understand that too.
I can to compare them. Well, the decade of Kuga and Kamen Rider was the decade of experimentation because this was new. This is the decade of
how can we switch up a form?
Yeah, this is mixing it up. The decade of mixing it up because they've been doing the same thing for the last 20 goddamn years. So let's try some new shit. And they tried a bunch of new shit. Some of it worked. Some of it really, 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 really fucking didn't.
It's like the 90s were a time of experimentation. This one was just like, we're just going to flip it on its head in some cases.
So.
And it has so many of my favorites. Shinkenger, Geki Ranger, basically everything.
Bokenger.
Aba Ranger. That's one of my favorites.
Time
is great.
It has Deca. It has so many good scenes.
It has Deca. We are the future, Deca. Sorry.
It has so many good seasons.
Magic Ranger is a favorite of mine too.
Magic Ranger
is also good.
Magic Ranger.
Yeah, it's just there's so many good seasons of Sentai in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got so many of the things that we like now in Sentai from
this decade.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really it that we end up having to say for this one. Let us know what you think about this decade in the comments below, where you review them.
First of all, boo! Second of all, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Become a patron if you can. And as always, we will see you guys next time.
But before don't remember... do remember.
Don't do it. Don't remember.
Don't remember that I said don't remember. Please join us for our stream this coming Saturday, the 8th.
And we hope you enjoyed our stream last week.
That will have aired as of now, yes.
Yeah. We really hope to see you guys on our suicide prevention stream on September 8th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be playing something. We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.